what I am going to do today is pretty much just put in a little bit of work on a small static site that I'm doing actually for my wife's dad. So I'll show you the site that we're doing. And as you'll be able to see, I don't know why the internet's going so slow. I think my whole computer just slows down a little bit because of the streaming. It's not the beefiest computer, it's just a laptop. So yeah, this is this is the website. Very exciting. We'll probably end up upgrading the design a little bit. If there's any interest in that, I'll stream it. I always work with Sketch, so it'll just be kind of taking this base and modernizing it a little bit. This is like as simple as it gets when it comes to marketing sites, and it's pretty much just a few different like static sections in here, and then there are a few sections with some data that I want to put into the CMS, like this whole thing. They have a bunch of products that are nested. Projects that are nested under different categories. So these definitely will be CMS controlled. I need to have photo gallery and a little bit of description. On the About Us page, they have some staff in there, so I want to CMS control that. On here, this is not really a very great setup, but I'm going to try to make something a little bit similar, but upgrade this a little bit so that it's not just questionable text on a page. But you kind of get a sense of what this is. It's a very simple site, and so I'm just going to kind of like tinker a little bit. What I was going to use for this is Dato, as usual, which is my CMS of choice these days. It's wonderful. It's worked super well for us and our clients and my company, and so it's a no-brainer to go back to them for this small freelance site, especially just because the user experience is so good. So I've already set up a site here, and so I'll show you what I set up to start it off, and then we'll get into the code. And I haven't really done anything except for just hook up Dato. That's pretty much it. And this one I'm doing as sugar-free, so no sugar ML. I know that this site might end up being administered or contributed to by someone else, so I want to make sure it's as simple as possible. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to get famous, feel free to just drop something into live chat or comment along the process. Otherwise, I'll kind of just like move ahead while I'm doing. So when I made this site, the first thing I did was I went into the settings and went into the models, and I started spinning up all these models. And so data models here are pretty simple. For every static page, I have a single instance model. When you're creating models here in Dato, you can tick this box for single instance. And this is a really nice feature that basically will make it such that it's not like a blog post where you could create more and more blog posts, but instead it's, oh, I should use my microphone, my fancy new microphone. Maybe, no, this is fine for now. I'll set that one up for next time. Doesn't really make too much of a difference, especially for these live streams. For like a recorded video, I think I'd probably use it. Anyway, distracted quickly there. So for a blog post, right, you'd have a bunch of different ones where they'd be, you'd be able to create a new blog post. But for something like the text on the About page, you can't create more than one text on an About page. There's only one About page that has one set of text. So for this case, this single instance option is great because the model is the same, but it's just like there's one instance of it, and that one's already there for you, and you can't make any more. And I'll show you what that looks like in the interface in a minute. But basically, I have a bunch of these individual pages that kind of have content on them, and this is a really good way to do one-off static pages here. And very simple, usually just a paragraph of text and maybe some photos. And you can see that most of these are pretty much just like one field or so. And then these are the ones that are not single instances, like staff. Projects is another one. This one's the biggest one, like you probably just saw. Project categories, because there always could be more categories added. So this will be a relation to projects. And you can see that there is a single link right here. Field project category. The news page and news and announcements is repeated. And the rest of this is just pages. So nothing too crazy in here. This is about the most basic setup you can get. So what I did with the navbar, another cool thing about Dato right here, you can see that you can actually arrange the navigation bar the way you want. So you can name things however you need to, and you can move them around and reorder them and nest them, and even have like ones that don't show up. So for example, project categories is not in the nav at all. I put in the pre-existing categories, and I pretty much wanted to make it as simple as possible. If they want to add another category, then they just ask me about it, and I could add it back in there and make the category. So that's how I was like starting off. But this is really cool because you can drag these around and kind of arrange it how you want. So when the user shows up here, they get a really nice clean navigation that's super clear. You can name everything exactly what they like without having to mess with models. And you get something like this drop down that contains all the pages, so it's not too confusing. These are probably the most frequently updated pieces. So I put these up top, and then these pages are nested here. So on the home page, as soon as you click into it, you see I loaded some of their content. I just straight up downloaded off the existing site and copy and paste the text. But you can see kind of how this is just like, oh, this is the page and that's it. Whereas when you go to the staff, which is not a single instance, you have this listing over here on the left of the different people and records, and you can go and edit these, and you can create a new one with this plus button down here, which is pretty nice. So for the projects, I just loaded in one example project. There's actually a lot of projects. There's honestly, let me see. I feel like there's almost like 100 or more projects on here, so I'm kind of wondering whether it's a better use of time to try to write a script that will go through and kind of like scrape all the data from the projects and organize it for me, or whether I should just manually put it in because it would take more time to like make the script and tinker around with the data and format it. So I'm not really sure. I'm kind of leaning towards running the script for now, but the thing is, it's not all on one page, so the script's going to have to like click through links and collect the data. I'd probably use something like an integration testing framework, like Casper or something to do that. But still, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. So that's really the only section that I feel like is going to require a little extra work. Because there really are a lot of these categories, and then within each category, there are quite a lot of projects for some of them. This whole URL structure is baffling to me. But yeah, so I just set up one as an example so you can load it into the project for now. Everything else I pretty much filled out from the website because it was pretty quick to do so. These are all their like news posts which I added a title to, and all these pages are pretty much just a copy and paste job here, so fairly straightforward. Another cool thing about Dato is that in the settings you could go and put in kind of like what you want the site title to be. How nice the bunny came out. You want to see the bunny? I know she's bun sniffing on around, having a good time, trying to wiggle her way under the couch. Maybe I'll bring the bunny over to say hi later, if anybody's actually watching and there's any demand for it. Oh, I do need to mic? Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, alright, give me 1 second. I'll plug in this mic and I'll get it going. I'm probably going to move my seat. So I have a bit better access to a surface. I'll have to show you guys my new house sometime, but perhaps a time when I'm not trying to do live coding. Okay. Sorry for the hold up. Obviously, I'm one of the more professional streamers that you'll ever see, in case you couldn't tell already. And, oh, 4 people, okay. Okay, so I need to just go and change my settings a little bit in here. So let's see, maybe I can do this while I'm still streaming. I need to add a new source, right? No, mic, properties, device. I think it's going to end up being built-in microphone, but We shall see in a moment. External microphone. Okay. Okay, so this is working. Yep. Yeah. It's working. Does it sound better, or do I need to kind of like, refresh the stream? Let me see what's going on in this this chat. Oh, it does sound good. Okay, all right, great. We did it live. We did it. Okay, great. So microphone works. Exciting stuff. Let me just scoot on over so I'm closer to it. Eating snacks. Okay, that's great. Just had dinner a while ago, so no snacks over here. Made some soup. It was great. Okay, and does this video look normal? Yeah, now I have a plant and some recess lighting in the background, but I hope you guys can deal with that. Okay, so that was our little tour of Dato, and let's get into some of the more implementation stuff, because we know we've got some data in here and this is looking pretty good. I actually sent it over to the client and he's messed around with it, and he said that he liked the user experience, was great. That's feedback that we've gotten from a lot of clients we put on Dato. This is really just a giant sponsored ad for Dato, surprise. Just kidding. So yeah, let's get into the site. I'm working on some pretty exciting stuff with Reshape Loader too. I'll show you that at some point, but it still is a little bit in progress. Man, the bunny is just going crazy right now. She's like hopping everywhere, sniffing everything. All right, so we'll pop open the site and I'll show you the basic config, and then we'll start working on it, since we've just been like kind of messing around for half an hour. Not a half an hour, it's like 15 minutes. Okay, so I just pretty much have a basic default site. There's a little bit more. I don't really know why I did it this way, but for some reason this is the way I decided to do it. But this I might end up changing around. This is my way. This is actually my first test of the Spike Optimize plugin, which is a new plugin that will it'll aggressive split your scripts, and it will turn on scope hoisting, and then it'll rewrite the URLs. It'll turn on hashing as well for your scripts, and it'll rewrite the URLs to match. And it's been working pretty well so far. This is my first shot at implementing it, and I kind of did it in this weird way using a single app.js file. I don't really know why I did that. I think it's better if you use app production.js, so I'm going to switch that over. That's the way I put it in the default template. It's just as much cleaner and more straightforward. So we'll do some config work here. It'll be great. So we'll move over Spike Optimize Require into here, and then we'll do module exports. And this will be after Spike plugins, and this is just the standard. Oh my goodness, this bunny is going crazy. Optimize, and I'll just drop these in here. I feel like I probably should just make these true by default, because who would not turn those on, right? I mean, if they're true by default, you can set it to false if you want, but there hasn't been a time where I didn't want all of those things, so I don't really know why I chose that. I might end up changing it over. What is CD? I think that was that was a mistake. Okay. I think that was me trying to type into my terminal and just putting it into the document. Okay, so that looks a lot cleaner now. So basically, we've got the three standards here. I put parser on false for both of these. I mentioned this earlier, but maybe not everyone's here. I'm doing this site as sugar-free because I know this is a very small site that might have other people touching the code, and I want to make sure that it's as simple as possible. I'll usually shade towards sugar-free, especially if I'm handing off the site to any other development team, and I can see it being possible that I won't want to indefinitely maintain this little site. So I just made it sugar-free for safety, basically. And so now this is all like super straightforward stuff, and nobody really has an excuse for not being able to work on this. I'll probably change this to my actual name. There we go. yeah, so I set these both to parser false to make it sugar-free. Now, we talked about this a couple of days ago in the Slack channel, but this is probably going to end up being the default as well. And it's not because I like it, it's because it makes it a little bit more accessible. And so for introducing people who haven't really worked with the system before, I think sometimes it's a little bit easier to start it off with more familiar syntax before they move into that sugar ML syntax. So this is going to end up being the default as well, and that's going to be a pretty big breaking change, but I'll put it under a major version. And for any existing projects, the good thing about the fact that this is independently required and not tied into Spike Core, you'll have to upgrade it in order to make that change. So when you upgrade, you'll see it's a major version. Check the release notes. It goes, oh, it's breaking. You have to take out parser false, and then you could do that. So the change will be smooth, but it will be breaking. The rest of this is just pretty much stock out of the default template here. So to load up Dato, oh, now you can see my token, so I guess I'll have to change that after after this video, but whatever, hopefully you won't. Oh no, never mind, this is actually a read-only token, so you can read the data for this website if you want to make your own version of it. In fact, you can make this version, that would be really cool. Just give it to me and then I'll send it to my client and not have to do any work. But basically, in the settings, you could go in here, and I won't click here because now I've learned how dangerous this is when you're live streaming, but you click in here, it'll show you tokens, and it has a read-only token, and it has a read-write token. And so I just put the read-only token for these sites because obviously there's no need to write back data to the CMS. Drop that right in here, and then I just put in this homepage model, and you could see it's pretty convenient. They show the name here, and then they show in like monospace what the model name is. So to start pulling the data, you just put in this type thing, and you put the name, and it'll pull that down and attach it to the Dato object. So this is a really super fast setup once I had some data in there. Oh my goodness, the bunny is eating my feet. And then all I really did was got this basic layout going, and then went in here and just printed out the data to make sure everything's coming through. And that's all I've done so far. So really not a lot of progress is being made, which is why I kind of wanted to start streaming this to see how it went. So I don't know if I have NPM scripts set up. Yeah, I do. So I'll use those because I'm trying to get into the habit of sticking with those, because I really don't think people should be required to install Spike globally. So obviously I need to install these dependencies. I actually recently cleared out all of my node modules folders because I have like probably 50 or more projects sitting in my projects folder, and some of the node modules folders are really big. I had like, I think it was more than 8 gigabytes of node modules folders on my computer, and for some of them it was like projects I didn't work with that often, so it was like time to free up some space, and I deleted all of them. Sorry, I will get this chat back up. Yeah, okay, so, oh, it's still quiet. Okay, maybe I need to get this microphone a little closer. What if I put it here? This might be hard to type. Does this make any of a sound difference if it's here? Let me know when you're ready. Now this is weird. I have to like look down in it. I think this is the best I can do. I could try to boost my audio levels from this thing. It looks like they're coming through like pretty well, actually. I might try just turning up the YouTube volume, because like if I go much louder, I'll be hitting the max here. So I think this is the best I can actually do as far as audio goes. So for this extension of HTML, I feel like it is possible that it could be confusing, but oh my goodness, I blew it with my mic, I'm sorry. Okay. I think it's possible, but at the same time, like, this is actually HTML. These are just custom elements here. So there's not actually any syntax here that's not 100% valid as far as HTML goes. So as much as, like, if you look at this, someone might be like, that's not HTML. It is actually HTML. It just goes through a couple of transforms. So it's possible to change it. All you'd have to do is add the matchers thing, and then you could just do, like you've seen this before if you use SugarML, you just do something like this, dot whatever, like enhanced HTML or something like that. You could do that and use a different extension if you want. There's nothing that's stopping you from doing it, and it would be really easy to configure. So if you do think it would be confusing for someone you're handing it off to, then I don't really see any issue with adding something like that. And it's pretty easy to do. You don't have to really make any core modifications. Okay, so yeah, so let's, now that our dependencies are installed, let's run this up. And you can see just how easy this config is. Even compared to Contentful, this is just so much quicker and easier and smoother. You just put in the token and that's it. And just put in the model name and it'll pull it down. And we're working on a pull request right now that makes it even easier, which is awesome. Okay, so here comes our site. My computer is very slow. You can see it's really struggling with this whole live streaming thing, so apologies for the slowness. Google Chrome's taking up all of it. No, OBS is like consistently taking up half my CPU. I probably should plug in, actually. That might help a little bit. I just have like decided not to use a charge cable for some reason. There we go. Maybe that will do the trick. Okay, so I've got all of my data here for the home page. As you can see, I've got a bunch of photos, and I've got this intro paragraph. So I'm gonna go to their homepage as a reference just to like make sure I've got everything as it is, and that should be fine. And this is marked down, so we'll have to render that, but that's pretty easy. And I think we're in pretty good shape to get started with this. So I'm just going to put down a basic layout to make the page kind of look a little bit like this, and get the text in here, and that will be a pretty good start. And then I'll probably pull in the news and render the first 3 of those down here to get it started, and that will kind of get the point across. And then maybe we'll wrap up the stream because it probably will be pretty boring at that point, but I don't know. If there's anything else you guys want to like hear about or see me working on, then let me know and I could do it. It's really hard to know what's boring and what isn't. So, okay, so let's get back into the editor, and we'll just lay down some basic layout stuff. So we've got this like box that always contains all the content, and this one goes a little outside, which is kind of stupid, and probably I'll change it, but that doesn't mean I need to change the layout structure. I'll just pull that to the right with a negative margin. So I'll make the main section be that block, and I'll use the body to do this blue background. So let me grab that color that's using the SIP app, and we'll just jump into the CSS and start working on this. And that's global stuff, so I can put it here. And I'm going to have to remember to do semicolons and brackets. I'm definitely going to forget. So get ready for it. I absolutely hate doing the semicolons in CSS. It's even more useless than JavaScript. And then we'll do the main section. This one would be background of white. And this is probably 960 wide. I bet it is. That used to be the standard width, so I'll just stick with that. And we'll run the margins to center it, and we'll see how that looks. Man, this reload is so much slower when I'm streaming. Oh, that worked really well. It's because I forgot just one little number. Okay, yeah, that looks about right, I would say. And so you can see we have the wonderful CSS margin collapse issue thing going on with this. Usually you could fix that by putting overflow hidden on the element, and it will go back up. But we're going to get rid of that margin anyway. And then also there's some default margin and padding on the body, so I'll clear that out. And I could use some kind of reset here, but I'm just too lazy to put that in right now. can always reset it like this. Okay, so now we're good to go. And I'll probably just steal this logo and drop that up there. Nice. Okay. And whenever I pull down an image, I'm trying to run it through image opt-in. This is more of just like watching my workflow, honestly. I hope this is enjoyable. Because it's not like nobody else knows how to do this stuff that's watching or is learning anything. It's pretty good savings, actually. I mean, this logo needs to get redone. This obviously should be a vector, and this piece needs to be flattened out. These like gradients are ridiculous. I actually made him a logo before that I thought was a lot better than this, but I think he liked the corporateness of this, the technology and corporateness. So we'll see. Maybe we'll end up redoing it. I wonder if I'll be able to dig up the one that I made. It was a while ago when he was asking for a new logo. But anyway, this probably should be text. It should be just this as a logo, but I'm just going to drop that in there for now as a placeholder. So we'll pop open that folder and then put this in here. First image. Okay. And getting back to it. Okay. Yeah, I think that's true. We probably should, but that's like writing such a big, that's like a big project. Doing those transformations. I mean, it's basically like HTML to Jade. You know, it's like a big project. There's a lot of edge cases, so that would be a big tool to write. What I'm ultimately going to do is set up the default template so that it asks you another one of those questions when you're booting it up, and it just asks, do you want to use like the sugar syntax or do you want to use the default? And so then if you select the sugar syntax, it'll give you the base files and configuration as set up with that. I think that's probably the best middle ground because then people can kind of choose what they want off the bat. And the default will just be like no sugar. But if anyone's interested in writing sugar ML to HTML, I think that would be awesome to have for sure. It's just it's kind of an ambitious project. It's a full parse and transform, so it's not just something you can like whip off in like a day. That would be pretty good though. Yeah, to just convert the whole thing so I didn't have to deal with all the other syntax. Once you get used to the sugar syntax, it's really hard to go back. I mean, it's not hard to go back, it's just that you now have seen the light of more ease of use, and so it just seems silly to be doing it the other way. Okay, so yeah, let's set this up. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what this is or why it's here. I'm not even gonna put this in. we'll redesign that part, or I'll put it in later if he really desperately wants it. But this doesn't really even make any sense to me why it's here. What is it, like a diagram, some like rooms on a hallway? I don't know. This will see a fresh coat of paint before it goes out. So yeah, I'm gonna set up the nav bar and the header. So let me grab this color, Ruby Nail, that was called, Rusty. I really like how with SIP it gives you the names of the colors. I feel like I get a lot of small joy out of seeing all these ones. Glaucus. I mean, these are just, some of these are just absolutely ridiculous. Ocean. Okay. What's this one? Bullshot. Mackenzie. Like, where do these even come from? Wafer. Isabeline? Wow. Some of these colors are wild. Oh man, you can really get a wealth of them by going over an image. One of those was Knight Rider. Romance. It's just white. Okay. Alright, let's stop being distracted and actually do things. So yeah, let's set up my nav with the background color of this brown. And then we'll get back into our layout and set it up. So this is actually inside of the main section. So we'll run the header. Wow, where did that come from? And the nav is really under the header, if we're being honest. So I'm going to drop it as a separate element. Let me know if that's semantically incorrect, because I'm not very good at semantics. And this one's going to have logo. The bunny's out again, causing a big ruckus. It's crazy bunny. Was that a JPEG or a PNG? It's a PNG, of course it was a PNG. Definitely needs to be one. And that's all we've got up there because I'm not putting that other image. And then here we've got so this is just going to be a slash, and then I'm just going to tediously copy this a bunch of times. And we have about, services, projects, news, services, projects, news, announcements, and contact, FTP. FTP is ridiculous. I mean, you know what? If people in this industry use it, then so be it. Whenever I do projects for other industries, I'm always like pretty consistently shocked by the technological standards that they're at. I have one is this civil engineering group, and then another one I'm working on is for like a finance group, and that one is also totally ridiculous. Just like the way that communication happens, and like it's just interesting to see. We're so like in this technology bubble where we like think everybody's like super familiar with computers and how they work, but as soon as you step outside of it, you're like, oh, nope, nobody else is. So contact, FTP, and Google. That's obviously not going to be what it is. FTP, Google Plus, I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. There's no way that that's going to end up staying here after this design, but you know what? Let's just add it here right now. Because we're doing a direct port, so direct port it is. Okay. News and announcements. Okay, this is projects, and this is services, and this is about. Okay. So that looks pretty good, and we will make the text white as well. And let's see how we're looking after that update. Yeah, you know what? That's a good. That's a pretty good idea because, yeah, I mean, Reshape does parse SugarML into HTML anyway. So that was actually already written. I'm not sure why I didn't think of that earlier. The only thing is, you know what? You could do it already, right? You would just have to run it through Reshape without any plugins, and then it wouldn't transform anything. So you'd get all of those custom tags. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that would be a really easy project to make. It's so easy that I feel like I shouldn't make it and one of you guys should make it, because why not? Might as well take ownership, right? Does anyone want to do it? Let me know if you want to do it. I mean, literally all you have to do is it would just take a SugarML source, run it through Reshape with empty configuration and no plugins, and then HTML would come out. I mean, the hard part would be going in the opposite direction. No, it wouldn't. Actually, that would be really easy too, because you put HTML. No, it would be hard. Because the code generator for Reshape always generates HTML, but we don't have a generator for SugarML. We have a parser for it. So going back the other way actually would be hard, right? So that's why HTML to Jade is a more complicated project, because you have to make a generator that goes from HTML to the abstracted syntax, which is the opposite way. Okay, Caleb will do it. Great. What a hero. That's excellent. And also, big props to Caleb for putting together a SugarML syntax for Vim today, which is awesome. I don't use Vim, but I know a lot of people do, and I think a lot of people will be really grateful for that. So thank you so much for doing that. Shout outs for life. Okay, so yeah, let's keep working on this. And I can still nest at least, so I think without nesting I would actually go crazy. That would be really brutal. So yeah, I'm kind of missing some of the Axis stuff now, but at the same time, like, that also kind of has an accessibility cost where it's like if I hand this off to another developer, who's to say that they will be familiar with all the things in there. So I'm starting to be a little bit wary of these things. Like unless they're projects that are going to stay with me managing it or stay with my company managing it, I tend to be a little bit more cautious of the helper tools that are kind of not super well known in the wild. Even if they are super well known, like that's no guarantee that you're going to hand it off to somebody who knows it. Especially if it's outside the tech industry, right? I mean, you don't have a lot of developers working for non-tech companies that are like really, really sharp on their technology just because of obvious reasons. Probably someone will get mad at me for saying that. So apologies. I'm sure there are plenty of them, but your chances are just a little lower. So yeah, let's do white and we'll do, yeah, okay. And this doesn't need to be white anymore because links always override everything with their hideous colors. Gotta love links. Yeah, it's really slow. Okay, and let's pad this up. You know what? Let's just copy it. Actually, let's see what their CSS looks like in general because I wouldn't be surprised if this was pretty frightening. Shout out to Blue Dove Designs for doing this. Oh, you know what? Well, all right. That's. I mean, that doesn't really make any sense if we're being honest. These classes. That's total nonsense, really. Okay. Well, you know, I mean, I've seen worse, but it's not good by any means. Like, why is there a span inside of here? There's definitely no reason that needs to be there. It doesn't have any classes on it at all. It's just like it's just an arbitrary span that serves literally zero purpose. What is the padding on? Is it on the UL? Line height? Did they use line height for the padding? Oh my god, yes they did. They used line height, and then and then they just put height as 32 with no unit, and just left that one there. What happens if I add the unit? Yeah, it's nothing. Okay, it's not that surprising, I guess. height is just 32. Let's bring it back to the original. I like that. It's wonderful. Yeah, gives some props to Caleb for sure. All right, height 32. This is an old site, you know. It's an old site. Again, an upgrade. Okay, so that means we're talking about 16 pixel padding. That seems pretty aggressive, but you know what? Let's see what it looks like. I think that's going to end up being way too much because that also counts the actual text, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's all right. Let me take it down a little bit, though. I think we'll probably just stick with 10 here. For these ones, we'll do... okay, here's a little trick. Oh, man. My computer is just so slow. It just cannot handle live streaming. Oh, Rocket crashed. Sorry, Rocket. Okay. Here's my little trick of how to not have to add an extra element. Actually, no, okay. Actually, this doesn't really make that big of a difference, but whatever, I'll just do it to be fancy. And we'll set the margin right to, let's say, sometimes I just use this thing to do ref measurement. It's probably 30 is about right. Okay. I'm not going to worry about the active styles. I'm just kind of trying to get the bases down. I feel like this is going to end up getting changed anyway. And also, I'm definitely not going to do this whole outside of the box style because that just looks ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. So that's pretty good. And I guess I'll probably just flexbox this. I think that's the easiest way to center. So. Okay. Center. Okay. Center everything. That should do the trick. don't actually think this is centered, but we're going to center it. Yeah, this one is like almost lined up with the edge of that logo, but not quite. We could, I don't know. We'll mess around with that later. We could left align it. It might end up being better. I don't really know. This guy needs to get padded out a little bit, so let's get a rough measure. Probably about 30 there as well, so I'll just set the padding on the header to 30 pixels. We'll stick with that for now. This is like the worst design process ever because I don't really have a design and I'm also just like doing it very roughly, so I hope you'll forgive me for that. Okay. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. Okay. So that's good enough for the header. We're done. Yeah, so the reason that I wouldn't do 0-15 pix would be if I was aligning it, right? If this needed to align to the left, which it's still possible that it will, I would want to have this container be nice and clear in the edges. And so in its current state, it's true, 0-15 pix would do the same thing. But as it stands, I have the edges of these being entirely clean on both sides. And I kind of like having it be that way just because then it's not really dependent on the layout and it kind of can be moved around and adjusted without you having to go back and change things a little bit later. But it's true, I could have run 0-15 and that would have been easier for this specific layout. So it's some good advice. Wow, look at this lovely color. What do we got? What is this one called? Asparagus. Oh, nice. Wow, it's really special. And I really like asparaguses, they're great. Although they do make your pee smell weird. Nobody ever talks about that. But it's obviously a fact that everyone knows. Like, why is there no other vegetable that makes your pee smell weird except for asparagus? And also, if you've ever seen them growing out of the ground, it's so ridiculous. They don't grow out of a plant or anything. It's just like there's the ground, and then there's just an asparagus, like just straight up sticking out of the ground. And then you can just clip it right on the bottom and cook it and eat it on the spot. They're just crazy looking plants. They're great though. They're really tasty. There's my extreme personality aside about asparagus. Okay, so this is probably let's just say 40 for that one. Okay, so now we're getting into the actual index page. So we're pretty much done with the layout here. And we're getting into this index page. So this looks like the size of like an H3. Maybe an H2 actually. Probably an H3 size, but it is obviously an H1. So I'm going to make an H1 and we'll just adjust the size. Welcome. I feel like it should be like a period there. And then we're going to get our homepage dot intro. Okay, so in here, this is going to be, I'll just make this a container because it will need to be adjusted in a little bit. Actually, let me see. This whole thing has to be a container because we have a left-right thing going on and it needs to be cleared below. So this will be a container, and then we'll have a text, and we'll have an images. So this will be, oh man, I need to actually type out div again. This is rough times. Intro. And then we'll have, can I just like do this? Oh, nice. That's great. That's really great. Okay, that helps a lot. Although I don't really need this extra space. I guess I'm going to need to make snippets for this type of thing to be able to do it faster. I think probably using Emmet is a good idea. I used to use that back in the day. All right, no comments here. So this is dato.intro. And this is going to be a markdown render. Oh, you know what? And this does double quotes too. And now, since the latest change to Reshape Standard, we actually have nice markdown renders without having to do the runtime thing. So then we're going to have, actually that that shortcut was honestly more of a pain than it was worth because I had to, yeah, I'm just going to type this. And I'll just leave that empty for now. Let's see how the text looks, see if I got it right. Okay. Quality, that's what we're about. Oh, nice, totally nailed it. It is homepage. There we go. That'll do the trick. No, it won't. No, it will not. That's an object. Do I have to? Well, all right. Let's just try again. I'm obviously really good at typing and really good at developing simple static pages at a blistering pace, as you guys probably can tell at this point. It is an array. Oh, man. Why did it give me object? I guess because an array is an object. Okay, that was why I actually was thinking, do I need to run, oh, well, do I need to run 0 on here because it's a single object? That's kind of a pain, but I see why they do it. It's because this is a single instance model, right? But all the rest of their models are inside of an array. This seems like something that probably I could clean up at the plugin level. No, I can't. No, I can't because it doesn't have an indication here of whether this is a single instance model or whether this is actually a multi-instance model, and there just happens to be one instance right now. And if it was a multi-instance with just one instance, then as if you made the code assuming that you just get an object back and not an array, and then they enter in a second one, it would break. So they would need to indicate in the API that it's a single instance model, or else I guess I have to just deal with this wrapper. So, okay. There's that. Problem solved. There are a few things I wish they would upgrade about their API, but so far they've been pretty receptive to it. I've been able to work with them and kind of figure them out. Okay, so we need a little bit of padding. Let's see how much they did. Looks like about 30. Seems like 30 is their standard amount of padding. Okay. And this is, let's see. So I want to wrap this. Because this is always going to be in the same looking section. There are people outside that are just yelling so loud. As soon as it gets to be like 10, 11, 12, my neighbors just start yelling. You know, I just can't comprehend it. It's like every single day. They like are all just having a fight out there. I have some real issues. There's just so many people living in this house next to me. It's like probably like 40 or more people that live there. I don't know how it's even possible. It's just a giant family. Okay, so let's get back to it. Obviously, this is not a showcase of productivity. It's kind of more of a rambling type of deal. So content is the semicolon, and that will indent us here, and then we need to, well, let's see, are all of their H1s going to end up being the same? They should be. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be. They're all going to be this uppercase green kind of deal. I feel like it's pretty likely. Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'll just make that the H1 style, and that will be easy enough. This is still global, so I'm going to keep this global. And this is text transform, uppercase, and font size. It's a little bit big right now, and I think that H1 starts at a 2M, so I'm going to try like 1.6M. See if that looks more reasonable. They're yelling so loud. I don't know what they fight about every night. I'm kind of curious. Not sure if I want to get involved though. Oh yeah, and this is asparagus. Do you think it'll work if I put in asparagus? I don't think it will, but you know what? Let's go for broke. See what we can do. it's It didn't work. It didn't work, guys. You know, it's tragic. It is tragic. Such is life. Some of those color names work in HTML, but I think it's much more limited of a set than the creative license that SIP has taken. Okay, that looks pretty good. Actually, it looks like they're using slightly lighter of a weight than I am. You know what? It might be their base font. You think they're... Oh, yeah, what was that? Oh, no, wait, this is Arial. But I was on one that just had a different font, like, just 1 second ago. It was like Cassandra or something. Did you see this? Am I going crazy? Yeah, there it was. Candara. Okay. What the fuck is that font? If I get rid of it, is it the same? Yeah. It's the same. I'll just toss that one in there. So they're using Arial. I don't really want to deal with Arial, but what I will do to slim it down a little bit is go ahead and do the WebKit. Yeah, that's cool. WebKit font done. I can't type while I'm talking. That's the problem. Look at this. I couldn't spell a single word as part of that. And you know, while I'm at it, let's do this. Border box. Sometimes I forget till later. And that throws me off. Okay, that should slim down our profile a bit. Great. Looks good. Great. Excellent. Okay. All right, so now we're getting into some homepage specific content. So I'm going to do home. I could do index, but then it's a little bit confusing. So whatever, it's the homepage. So, and this is going to be nested under index because we do have Spike page ID and it's working, I think. Should be. Oh yeah, I see it's 6. Okay. Yeah, there it is as an index. So we're able to get that done. Okay, and let's just do a little bit of line height work here. So this will be that, and oh, message retracted. Wow. It's aggressive. What could he have said? It must have been very insulting. Must have been like, Jeff, you're garbage. Terrible at designing sites. Why am I watching this? It's so boring. I'd be like, fair enough, it is pretty boring. Who is watching this, by the way? Let's check it out. 4 people still, wow. Props to all 4 of you for sticking it out here with me today. Okay, that didn't seem to do anything, did it? Not line height. Oh yeah, you know why? Because I didn't actually import it. Why about a different color? That's really weird. Really weird. Why is it blue? What? Oh yeah, something really went wrong here. What? The whole thing broke. It's done. It's finished. It turned blue and it broke. Did fine with global though. Oh, you know what? It might be this. I would be surprised if that just straight up broke everything, but you know, I guess it's possible. This is genuinely baffling. What? What did I do? Tell them what I did. It's semicolon in global. No, I see semicolons here. I see them. This is why I hate semicolons with a passion. No, they're on all the lines. Oh, it needs to be here after import? Oh my god. Really? I didn't think it was that bad. Okay. Good lord. That's the worst. I just saw the message pop up. Okay, we're back. We're back thanks to dbox pro tip of semicolons. Goodness gracious. Okay. Okay, this is looking pretty good so far. I mean, you get the idea, essentially. I'll finish out this homepage because why not? And it's just a bunch of CSS. Wow, this is really bad. This little banner thing is absolutely horrendous. I'm just going to not put that and just make this brown. It's really bad. It's not even actually aligned correctly here either. Look at this. There's a little extra padding. It's probably because they just had extra padding on the image. Oh, and this is a table? Oh my god, it's a table. It is a table. Yes, it is, my friends. I wonder how long ago this was made. I mean, this is... I think this site is generated by Joomla, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, look at this. We got the meta keywords in here. This is serious. Okay. Yeah, there we are. Joomla 1.5. So this is going to be a nice upgrade. Oh, look at this. Root. Wow, look at that. What is this root selector? This is some modern CSS right here. You think this was just a mistake? What? Weird. Oh yeah, of course they have an RSS feed for this homepage. Couldn't do without it. Wow, this is really special. Moo tools. Oh man, they're using moo tools. Yep, that is really a throwback. That is a real throwback. Moo tools. And Raphael, wow. Raphael is like it's a big library. Are they doing that just for these transitions? Or for that little, like, I bet it's for that little, like, animation thing. Oh, it didn't do it that time, though. No animation on this one. Oh, that one got it. This is just crazy. This site's going to be so much better once we redo it. Making the world a better place one thing at a time. iView, I can only imagine what that is. Also mod underscore SL underscore iView underscore slider. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. Let's get some images in there. So I've got, this has really been like the least efficient coding of the site of all time. So this should be images because they're many. And I'm just going to drop them all in there and we'll worry about the slider later. Probably I'll use Siema. Yeah, this is nice. Somebody actually in the static dev Slack, I think, brought this up a while ago. But this slider has been pretty good. I've thrown this at a few different front-end frameworks and pretty weird situations. Man, the internet is brutal when I'm live streaming. And it's really worked pretty well. It's been pretty solid. So maybe I'll actually load that up. And it's a pretty reasonable sized code base as well. Good API, nice and clean. Really actually quite good browser support. And honestly, I probably am gonna have to support older IE with this one because you know what? I am sure that the customer base here is not gonna be only IE 11 and up. So maybe I should actually reconsider using Flexbox for anything in here because I bet there's a lot of IE users coming into this site. I wonder if they're actually using Google Analytics because that would be an easy way for me to tell. Let's see. We'll find out soon enough. I highly doubt it. I mean, first, it's not a good sign that there's no script tags anywhere in the body. Probably all the scripts are in the head. Yeah, they are. We saw a bunch of them before. I don't think they're using any analytics at all. Maybe Joomla does some analytics. It would have to be server-side analytics, but maybe I can get something from there. Oh no, they do. Look at this. Okay, nice. Oh, and they even use async script. Wow. This is just a bundle of confusion here between like the oldest, most garbage things possible and like some really nice new. I guess they must have probably added it recently. I bet they copied it off of the Google snippet because I know Google recommends async by default. Flexibility. Yeah, true. I could. Yeah. I guess I could polyfill it. Oh, there goes Twitter. Twitter wasn't ready for this stream. It's done. My computer's just struggling hard. Okay. Okay, so you know what? I'll find out. I'll get access to their Google Analytics and we'll find out how many IE users. I'll report back. It'll be really exciting. But anyway, the slider has pretty good support, so I think that'll be fine. So let's just run loop our image. It's going to be dato.homepage 0 dot, I think it is images. I'm always taking guesses over here. And let's just do, wow, I really just cannot type at all, can I? I'm just going to do, I'm going to look at this because I'm tired of taking guesses. Should be out actually, I think. Drop a big boatload of text in there. We'll see how it looks. Super empty. I should just keep a, no, I'll just go look in the actual. This is easier than continuously printing the JSON stringified version. Photos, of course. It's always between photos or images. All right, well, let's keep this syntactic similarity here. And we'll do it like this. Okay, great. So the whole thing with Dato and images is a little bit awkward, if we're being honest here. They have helpers built in that we're going to end up putting, I think, into the next version of the Dato plugin that's being worked on, but for now you kind of have to do it manually. And they have this path that's like Dato CMS assets dot, can't remember what it is. I'll just look here. Now you can see the exclusive redesign of our homepage in progress. So I know I did it here. So exclusive. Oh my god. Look at all this JavaScript. Wow, it is super laggy when your computer is out. This is pretty cool too. This is a blend mode. I really like the way this worked out. I'll have to end up using more blend modes. Alright, so it's datocmsassets.com is the prefix. So we can just go ahead and say image equals, and this will be HTTP, or even better, just that, datocmsassets.com. It was www2 slash, and that goes into a string, and then we can interpolate in the path. So, and this is photo.path. That should print out all my images. It's a little bit ugly, but we'll iron that out in the next version. It's not the worst. The nice thing is that you get ImageX, which is awesome. And you can do a lot of really cool stuff. Like you can see what was done here with these images. There's like a whole bunch here. I'll just do a straight view source. Now I minified it here. There's a whole bunch of things we can do. WebP format, adjust the quality, adjust the max width and height. And so I have like probably 10 or more image sources per image inside of a picture element here in order to optimize the crap out of it. And here we're also, if you are sharp, you notice we're also using Preact components here that get rehydrated on the client side, which is working really well, but we have this whole thing kind of rendered out. Really nice. This will be a cool site once we come out with it. It's going to be great. A lot of work is going into it. So this is an utter failure, and it's because I put 2 slashes. There we go. Some web servers are okay with 2 slashes. Some are not. Okay, it's getting late, so probably going to wrap this up soon. Okay, there's our photos. Now they're printing out. They look wonderful. Let's go ahead and, oh, look at that. I ran into an error a little bit back. It's undefined thing. So, okay, let's add CMA in here. I might as well activate it. It's really easy to set up anyway. And while that's running, we'll adjust the CSS a little bit. This is on the home page, so I'll just do images. I cannot believe that I needed to put a semicolon here. That is really special. I guess I should be able to believe it, but this is such a foreign syntax that it's not used to it. All right, and it's one of those situations where I think I'm just going to do a 50-50. I guess I'll flexbox it. I'm giving in to the ways of the flexbox gods. It's just too strong. It's too easy. Okay, so there's that. These are going to go to 50%. And I think once I activate the slider, it'll align them up for me, so I don't have to do anything extra, but we'll see. This guy is, takes a selector, that's interesting. I wish you could just feed in an element actually, but that's okay. I'll give it a custom selector because I don't really like using their selectors. It's back. Okay, so let's load that up in here. And how does it? Oh, nice. Look at that. He even has the import in the example. Beautiful. Siema. It's weird having the, yeah, it's a weird word. Okay, and then we'll do that's what it is, right? Selector is slider. And then we get the ESLint error because this is not how it's supposed to go, but I understand why it's here because you can actually save it away and use its API later. In this case, we are using it for a side effect, so whatever. And this is going to be slider in that case. Okay, let's see how we're looking here. We'll reload this guy. This is obviously a very legit website. We already have a console error. Nice. Cannot read property offset width of null. Alright, what did we do wrong? It's supposed to use, I don't know, it looks like it should be fine. Right? Seems like it should be alright. Anyone know what I did wrong? This is images instead of slider though. Did it actually compile? No, it just didn't feel like doing it. This thing didn't compile. This is borked. Alright. Let's try again. It's just borked. Sometimes in life, things get borked. Nothing here. Oh. Yeah, I did a lot of the data entry before. It was just like manual labor. I just put it in. I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if you had tuned in at this point. Why did it do that? My browser is acting funny today. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if you were here before, but oh, look at this. Okay, it worked. They have this section on projects that has a lot of data in here, which I'm thinking about scraping.
But it just would be a lot of work to put together the script, I think, because not only do I have to write the scraper and make sure it's scraping everything well, but then also I need to write an import into Dato's API. So, I mean, probably it's worth doing because there are a lot of projects in here, but at the same time, it might honestly just be faster to do it manually because it's not like there are like 1,000, you know? There's probably like maybe like four on average in each one of these, and there's 4, 8, 12, 16. So 64. I mean, it would be a pain in the ass to enter those in, but at the same time, like, it honestly might be faster. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I could just go to. I could just do Mechanical Turk. That would be pretty good. Probably be worth it. Um, so for the npm start thing, it's just a little bit more familiar. Is what it comes down to. Like if somebody gives you a Spike project, you wouldn't have to like be like, oh yeah, to work with this project, you have to do a global install and like get Node going and everything. It'd just be like, oh yeah, just run npm start. And npm start is like a very standard kind of it's really a very standard thing for Node projects. So just saying like run npm start to get it going, I think is a nice simple way to make it happen. If you're making new projects, it's pretty helpful to have the global one because obviously if you don't have a project already, you're going to need to get it from somewhere. And so that's where the template generator comes in useful. And like I do still use the global Spike personally a good amount of the time. But you know, I think as like a default to put it in projects, it's just easy to tell people to run npm start, and it doesn't seem quite as unfamiliar or like as much of a hurdle to get over. So this is like sizing out a little bit weird, and I think it's probably because I haven't really explicitly defined a width for this, and I just gave it 50%. I wonder what would happen if I did like a min width on this. Let's test one out. I feel like this should not be doing this kind of weird thing where it's sized out wrong, but I don't exactly know why it's doing it. This is always the problem with sliders, like, and at the same time, I don't blame the sliders for it because it's really actually pretty difficult to like get these guesses right when things like might load more slowly or quickly, and like, but at the same time, it is a little bit annoying that it's doing this because I don't want to have explicit widths on these things because I'm going to make this a responsive site. And the fact that it's doing this by default is like, all right, that's not really a good start because this is not 50%. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, I changed the class, so maybe this actually is fine. I have a lot of faith in the slider, so let's hope for the best here. You can do it. Oh, nice. I think it did it. Yeah. Okay, and this is supposed to like auto rotate, and also it's supposed to have those captions, but I don't really want to deal with that right now, so we might be able to get it to auto rotate here. No, it doesn't have that by default, but that would be pretty easy to set up. We just have on init. We would have it just do a set interval and go to the next one. That's pretty easy to set up. I'm just going to leave it as a slider for now, though. Enough has been done here. So it's getting there. All right, so I'm just gonna do the news at the bottom, and then I'm gonna call it a day because I've been programming for too many hours today. Look at this with a loader there. It has a brown border around it. Yeah, let's put a brown border. Rusty nail. I should probably save that color as a variable. I'm gonna save it as rusty nail. It's gonna be great. Rusty nail. Yeah. It's gonna be so great. I think that's what it looks like. It's always hard for me to initially remember the. All right, let's do border 3-pick solid rusty nail. Yeah, rusty nail. That didn't work. I wonder if it actually got eaten up by the Well, let's see what happened. My computer is very slow when I'm streaming, and that's really unfortunate. Might have gotten eaten up by the slider, or I just blew it, and it just didn't do anything at all because I got the variable syntax wrong. Yeah, do you do non-camel case? I guess whenever I think of variables, I just make them camel case, because when I make variables in JavaScript, I do. Images can't have borders. What? Yeah, that's fine. This isn't an image. It's actually a container. But yeah, images are weird. This should be able to have a border. I don't really see why it doesn't have it unless I got the variable syntax wrong, right? Let's just try like red here or something. If it shows up, then I'll know I got the variable syntax wrong. I feel like my development is at like, yeah, I must have fucked it up. All right, what did I fuck up? Somebody tell me. Semicolon? No, not again. No, I have one. I have one. There's one. What did I mess up? Tell me, stream. How did I blow it? Where? This is still not going to show up here, is it? No, it showed up. All right, well, I must have put a semicolon somewhere along. All right, fine. All right, I'm really bad at semicolons. It's really hard. Okay, so I guess I'm now kind of wondering what the story is. I guess this is a Flexbox thing. The fact that it's going all the way down there. But it's kind of annoying. A little bit annoying. Maybe I'll just pass on this border for now, unless someone's going to tell me what I did wrong. This is like a much better way to code. I just mess up and then just wait for people to tell me how to fix it. It's great. Okay, let's move forward to news and announcements. Okay, great. Man, I hate this syntax. It's horrible. It's just so, it's like so verbose. Okay. All right. So there's this, and in here we're going to put a, well, this is not actually an H1. You know what it should be, though. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. So I'm going to make it an H1. It's totally a new section. It's no less important than this thing. They just arbitrarily made it a different style for no apparent reason. So let's make it an H1. Great. And we'll indent this thing, and that will be that. And then under this, we'll do okay. And here we'll do each loop is story in, and let's go get our news stories thing. It's news underscore announcement. Dato dot news announcement. Beautiful. And then we'll just do if, oh, we can do the index too. And then we'll do if I is less than, I want 3 stories. So if I is less than 4, then we will, or you know what I could also do? I could do a splice. I always forget how splices work. Let's figure it out. This is how I figure out how things work. Splice. Splice is a mutating method now. I don't know if that would cause a problem when I actually render the news page, you know? Because it mutates. I think I can use slice to not mutate. Let's just try this. Yeah, that worked. Okay, let's do that. let me just make sure it doesn't mutate though. Splice is cool, but I'm glad I just got the syntax right on the first try too. Okay, that doesn't mutate, so it's fine. Great, I'll just do that and we'll save an extra wrapper. And we'll do p, we'll do story.title. I think that's a field. Yes, it is. Okay, and we'll just start with that. Oh, there goes my text editor. I don't know where it went. Okay, and now I need to get out of this tab and cancel my watcher because I didn't actually add that model. So we'll go back here and we'll add the model in so that it does actually pull from Dato. News announcement. Is my audio still clear? Should be H2. Why do you think it should be H2? It's still a top level. It still is a top level thing on this page. You know, I mean, it could be an H2, but it's not like it's not like in this section of the welcome paragraph. It's like its own separate section. You know, is there only supposed to be one H1 per page? Is that why? I don't know about H's. I only know about JavaScript. Terrible at web development. All right, so let's fire this up. And we'll see what comes out. Hopefully it won't be an error. This is like 1/3 of the speed that it usually is. Google only likes one H1. Let's find out. One H1 per page. SEO is the search. Let's find out. Let's make a little search. This is the thing. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Look at that. We didn't even get an error. It's glorious. Amazing. Fantastic. Okay. So that looks pretty good. And he doesn't actually have titles for his posts. He just has dates. So I'm just going to replace this date with the title for this mock because I know I already have the title. And then we have a little bit of a trim here. So usually when I have snippets and things like this, what I'll do is set up a local function in app.js that will run the trim, and you can give it like a number of words that you expect, and it'll just do the trim and add a dot 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 to the end. The problem with doing that in here is you can see that this is actually rendering markup. So what can happen is that, for example, if it just so happened that right here it was like there on this word, then you'd have the opening of a strong tag, and then the strong tag wouldn't actually close because it would put in the dot dot dot, and that would be the end of it. And then everything underneath here would be bold because you just would have that empty open tag. So I don't know if that was actually taken into account in Joomla in this system. I kind of doubt it, but it's possible. But I wouldn't want to set it up with like a known and obvious bug. So it can get a little bit more complicated with this trim stuff. And one way to deal with it is to strip out the markup from your excerpts. And I think that's a pretty decent way to do it. The only other way is that you can actually run a parse where you make sure that there aren't any open tags, and then flex the ending to make sure that if there was an open tag, it closes there, or if it's a really long tag, it actually closes a little bit earlier and doesn't include the tag. That's a pretty much, I mean, that's a lot more complicated of a function. Definitely not going to write either one of those today. I'm just going to drop the full description in here for now and deal with the trimming later because it's really late and I have some stuff to deal with and I have to get to bed. But just a quick summary of that type of thing. And this read more is ridiculous because all of them go to the same thing, so they don't actually have single post page. We could make single post pages for these, but in their current state, they're so short that I don't know if it's worth it. But probably it is worth it to just put a single read more type of thing there. I mean, another option is we could anchor on this page, we could put anchor links in here and have the read more links on each one point to the anchor. Probably that's the best approach, if we're being honest. But I mean, having a single post page for just like this literal 2-sentence snippet is a little bit ridiculous. So I probably wouldn't go down that route. Landing page. So this is something called Toby, which is pretty good. It basically will take it'll take any kind of open tabs and let you like make groups and organize them and save them for later. It's kind of like a to-do list. It's pretty good if you often have a lot of tabs open and you just want to close out the tabs and come back later. This is pretty good because you can just drop them into these groups and then come back to them later. Although a lot of the times for this, I just like end up never coming back to them. So I don't know. I think it's pretty decent. I also have the cats one that I used to use, as you might have known if you saw my other one. What is this little camel thing right here? The camelizer? What is that? I'm not going to ask any questions. I have it also an extension called the camelizer, guys. So if you know what that is, let me know. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's called Toby. I would recommend it. It's not like a life changer. I think Notion is really good. I feel like Notion is a life changer. Although now I'm out of space in Notion since I wrote that really long reshape article. And it's also like the slowest loading thing ever. But it was really a joy to write this, and I really like this application a lot. It's really excellent. So yeah. And that's all I've got for apps. Okay, let's finish up this website because I gotta bounce. This will be like an H5 because I feel like it. It's random H's here. And then I'll do, what was the other? It's called content, and I think that one is markdown. So this is going to take MD, and I'll do story.content. And we will go ahead and do, let's see. So yeah, this has to get nested. It could be this could be an unordered list. Probably it should be, but it just like introduces a lot more markup, and it's kind of annoying to reset the styles on. But whatever, I'll do it. It is technically it's a list, so I should make it a list. I just have to reset the styles now. So this is going to be. Oh, and I put a useless class on here. I apologize. It violated my own principles. I actually don't even need this class here. So let's get rid of that. Pretty easy to select this individually. So this can be UL, and it'll be list style none, and we'll do margin 0, padding 0. I know I forgot the semicolon. Display flex, and then we'll drop into the li, and we'll do. Oh, Bunny's really hanging out down there. She's just sitting on the floor, like lying down, taking a nap, like right next to my chair. I wish I could show you, but if I did, she would run away. And now I'm gonna do 32%. Well, I'll do 32%, and I'll do margin right 1%. And I know I'm gonna have to clear the margin on the last one, but I'll just deal with that later. All right, let's see if it just is flawless. Definitely is going to be. Oh, and let's loop back on this thing. Truth about multiple H1 tags. All right. It's looking like it might be okay. The pre-HTML5 single H1 tag rule. So it looks like it's fine to have multiple H1 tags now. That's what I'm getting from the gist of this article. This is just a very long summary. Can you just tell me the answer? Why is this so long? This is outrageous. Why multiple H1 tags are correct. It's perfectly fine to use as many H1 tags as your document calls for. That is one per sectioning, root, or content section. All right, great. I was right. Aha. Deal with it, D-Box. Deal with it. Must feel rough. You get so jacked up. Rough times. Oh, this is an MDI because it's inline. So the question is, why did my Flexbox not work? Did I not put Flexbox on? It's pretty likely. No, I did. I put Flexbox on. Should be aligning like that. Marketers just don't know anything about SEO. Nobody does. SEO like doesn't even exist anymore. Google just knows. There's no like game in Google. SEO used to be like where you could take advantage of Google. You just can't do that anymore. Google's too good. Oh, I put everything into one LI. How did I manage that? Oh, I see how I managed it. It's actually very easy to manage it. All right. Now I have unmanaged it. We should be back to good. That's semantics. I mean, it makes sense to me. It's fine. The thing is, like, I get what that article is saying. It's like when web pages were like all text, it would make sense to have one H1 because it's the title of the page. But they're like not text anymore, and your like main indicating elements are going to be in the header. You know, like this is not my H1. These are just like content sections at this point. And so I think as long as these are equally important, I think it's fine to have these both as primary headings. They are both primary headings. So I can see what they're saying there. Although you're well going to read the article yourself, but I think it seems reasonable. So anyway, here's my really crappy page that I've spent like probably 5 times as long as I could have making. Obviously, live streaming is a very productive endeavor. But, you know, I hope this is at least somewhat helpful in that you could see like just how to get Dato stuff wired up and how to get this going. And like this is a pretty standard kind of thing for smaller companies, and you can really, although I've obviously done it very slowly, you could like rip out this site like really, really, really fast. Probably get this done in like a couple hours total. Just key in the content, crank in the basic CSS, and then you've got like a custom built website for a small business, like running on a pretty good CMS. So I feel like this is pretty good, and I've had a few people come to me asking about these and been able to quote pretty low prices for them, just because Netlify is free. Dato could be like $10 a month if you want to have a couple of editors, or you can just you know, make an account for them, put the site on it, and keep it on the free plan. They probably won't exceed the number of pieces of content, and it's probably not really taking advantage of Dato that much because these kinds of sites are so small and get so little traffic that they literally cost pennies to host a month. But no small business will bat an eye when you tell them that you're going to put them on $10 a month hosting plan, because most of these companies like good old Blue Dove Designs, I'm sure, will charge a lot more than that for hosting and maintenance costs. I've seen 50, 100, more than 100 a month for like what obviously is just a static site, which is ridiculous. So I don't know. As much as this is silly, I feel like it's a nice thing to go through, because I think there's really is a large chunk of the internet that's made up of sites like this, and the dev community doesn't really get too excited about them because everybody's working on giant apps because they decide that's more important. But I don't really see any reason why it's not. I mean, there's plenty of innovation to be had in these sites. you can see, I mean, the difference with doing it like this over doing it through something like WordPress, etc., is like a huge difference in speed, a huge difference in hosting costs, and it's just so easy and fast to set up and work with that I'm pretty excited about this workflow in general, and I'm really happy with the way that Dato has fit into the workflow, being a CMS that is super user friendly and something that is very affordable for smaller businesses to work with and pretty straightforward for them to understand and sign into. So that's really all I've got for tonight. Any questions, comments, concerns? Wow, look at that! Before I even finish the stream, he's already finished the tool. Let's check this out. If anyone has questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot them over, and I can talk about it for a minute or two. But otherwise, no, looks like the link wasn't right. Let's see if I can just find it. Yeah. I like these braces right here. There we go. I don't know why that was wrong. It looks pretty good. Right? Sugar free if I. Huge project. So huge. Oh my god. Never seen such a big project. Cool. Reshape. FS. Globby. Interesting. I usually use just node glob. Okay. Based on the glob. Alright. Uses feature. Useful features, nice for API. This looks pretty good actually. Maybe I'll use that. Yeah, it's so slow. I'm streaming. Yeah. That's it. Pretty good. So you run it. You run this in a folder. It'll go get all the sugar files, and then it will put them all through processing, which is reading it, processing it, and writing it. Yeah, it seems like that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Nice work here. This is great. You got a star. I like this a lot. So yeah, if anyone's into that kind of deal, definitely check it out. I think it should do the trick. Got to write tests for this though. Got to write tests. Tests are an evil, but a necessary evil for sure. I'm sure you tested it locally, but just having the test fixtures in here makes a big difference. Okay, well, it doesn't seem like anyone's got anything else to say, so thanks, guys, for watching. I hope this wasn't the most boring thing ever. I would be surprised if it wasn't, but you can hope. And yeah, maybe I'll do another live stream continuing more interesting things pretty soon. I hope the microphone is good. I don't have like the ideal setup. It's actually like over here on this side. If I was sitting down at a desk, I could probably set it up better, but life is life. Okay, sounds good. All right, see you guys later. Signing on out. Stop streaming.